Carole, I'm imagining you're in shock this evening.
Oh, it is just chilling to watch these pictures. I am in shock to some degree, but it was also, I kept waiting, I kept expecting this to happen. I mean, not waiting in terms of happily anticipating, but I was worried for Donald Trump for months now, because when he does these rallies, you see how he just stands up. I mean, yes, apparently the Secret Service were fairly close by. They jumped right in, but he's out up there gesticulating. He's a target. I mean, he's an easy target. And so I have been worried about this happening for a long time. Plus, it was the possibility of this happening was increasing because, the Biden team was hoping that lawfare would get him. They had all of these different lawsuits against him, and they were hoping to put him in prison before the election. And that didn't look like it was working, especially with the Supreme Court, making this rule about immunity and so on. So that's what's happening. That was taking away their advantage on that side. And also, at the same time, Biden's cognitive, his dementia that I've been talking about forever, has been we're now seeing his dementia more clearly, like especially during the debate, but even at NATO and so on. So the two things, the things were not going well for them. Let's put it that way. And I knew that when they got desperate, that they would resort to an assassination. Now, of course, I guess I should say I don't have any inside knowledge to know that it was that Biden caused this shooter to come and do this. It's my what I'm just thinking from everything that I've seen and so on. But I don't have I'm not trying to say that I know this for sure.
No, but Dr. Carole, does the media demonization of Donald Trump lead to events like this? Do you think the press have blood on their hands or are at the very least indirectly culpable for what's happened tonight?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, yes, certainly the media, the mainstream media anyway, is on Biden's side. And yes, they do demonize Trump. And yes, that's why a lot of people have Trump derangement syndrome, that just seeing Trump and the idea of his winning possibly drives them crazy. So yes, it could be, for that matter, it could be just a lone wolf who has Trump derangement syndrome and he was acting totally on his own. But, I think Trump showed his mettle, as horrible as this is, and I'm still, shaking. But Trump showed his mettle. Here, he felt something on his ear. He picked up, he put his hand to his head. He saw blood. Blood was on his face. And yet, what did he do? He didn't just crawled. He put himself down, and that was made sense. But he then stood up and he went fight, with fist pumps, and that is his mettle. That's what's showing. That's what people are seeing. That he fight. In other words, if I'm dead, if this has killed me or is going to kill me, I want you all to keep fighting. I mean, because this isn't just about Trump. That's the point too. It's about America. Trump is America's last hope for this election, and if he gets assassinated, America is done.
You're the most famous psychiatrist in America. Will this impact President Trump's mental health? Will he lose his mojo? Will he lose his chutzpah and that famously defiant persona? Will we see a different Donald Trump when he comes through this?
I think he'll be more defiant. The more, in fact, we've seen it with the different court cases. That they have cowed him to some degree, during the court case, but he comes out stronger. He comes out more determined to make America great again, to fight against these other forces that are trying to destroy America.
Yes, can you tell me about this kind of trauma? You must have had patients that have suffered a violent attack over the years. What will Donald Trump be going through after being shot at? How long is it going to take him to recover? Is he going to need counselling? Will he get flashbacks?
He certainly could. A typical person with that happening to them might well develop PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
Of course, he is on a timeline, a time frame. He has to keep going with his campaign. So I think this will make him stronger. But, what I really would hope is that there is more protection. I mean, I've been kind of shocked at how little protection he has had in terms of, I mean, I guess it's hard for him to go in a plastic booth, a see-through booth, telephone booth type thing. But I mean and to reach the crowd, that takes away from how well you could reach people emotionally, if you're like in this booth. It shows that you're scared. But at the same time, he's going to have to do something, and they're going to have to look at what the people are bringing in more carefully. Like, how did somebody get in there with a gun in the first place? So they had better increase their security measures.
Briefly, Dr. Carole, will this attack on Donald Trump engender sympathy, and will it attract voters who might not previously have considered supporting him?
I think so. The way that he handled it is what will make it, what will make people be more sympathetic and see how much he cares. That's what he showed, fight, fight, fight. Like, America, you keep on fighting. I might be dead. This may have killed me. I mean, it is amazing that, I mean, they're saying he's fine, but it is amazing, a shot to the head, to the ear, to the brain, basically, it could have been. I mean, apparently it just grazed him, I guess, but it could have been something, of course, fatal. And so for him to, his first reaction is fight, fight, fight. You keep on going, even if I'm not alive.
Carole, look, it's been a privilege to have you back on the show, and Dr. Roger Gewolb. Can we now speak to another figure in the United States who's a very, very well-connected political voice in America, a political and royal journalist and broadcaster? It's Hilary Forwhich. Hilary, thank you very much for joining us at the very last minute here. Your reaction to these scenes of Donald Trump being shot at, surviving an attempted assassination?
Well, Mark, as you can tell, I'm in a car. I'm actually outside of an event, a big event in Washington, D.C. And of course, this is the talk of the evening. And I will actually reinforce what the lady before me said, the psychiatrist, is that this is the test of a man in a moment. Yeah. This is something that obviously he didn't know was going to happen. This was his character in a split second. The world has witnessed how he responded. Was he down on the ground as a victim, crying, like many people would have done and been justified in doing? No, Mark. He was defiant. He was strong. And I actually was at a table, I will say, with 3 other people who are decidedly liberal. They would never dream of voting for Trump. Their initial reaction, like everyone, they were aghast, like everybody. And then they said what I think will actually speak for a lot of people on the left. They said this gives them admiration for the man. That, Mark, is what I think you will see across this nation. Admiration for the man. People who weren't going to vote for him and aren't supporters. It
does feel like a cultural moment for America, which will endure for many years to come. Hilary, yes. Does it change the prospect of who wins in November in the presidential race?
I believe it does, Mark, for the following reasons. One, what I just mentioned, and the previous psychiatrist who's the expert mentally, as she said, I think it's in a moment, this was the character, demonstration of character. That's number one. Number two, I think, like the people at my table, I think this is people that wouldn't have voted for him. They now admire his character in the moment. That's number two. Number three, there are many people, and I don't have any statistics. I prefer to bring facts to the table, Mark, but many who are very doubtful about conspiracy theories. But there's always been this discussion in America about the deep state. The deep state wanting to take out Trump. They tried subpoenas. They tried to taking him to court. That didn't work. Tucker Carlson, a friend of mine, actually said what he fears is that they'll try to take him out. I think that, Mark, is going to add into this play that many people will be tipped now thinking, actually, I didn't think there was a deep state. Perhaps there is.
Indeed. I've just received a tweet from my boss here at GB News, and it's from Barack Obama, who has tweeted the following. There is absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't yet know exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt, and use this moment to recommit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing Donald Trump a quick recovery. That is former President Barack Obama.